I didn't even. I was wondering. I'm
here.
just sitting here like, 7 o'clock.
Looks last forever, buddy. Looks last forever.
I was in the sun a lot today, so that's probably why.
Oh, that's your excuse.
Yeah, that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
He's so bright, his mama called him son.
Oh. Oh. Oh, we're live.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are y'all ready, boys?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Here we go.
Push the button.
Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast, episode 88. I'm Joey with Steelblade Woodworks, and I'm joined today with Matt from Wackey Works, BJ from Byroms Custom Woodworks, the Mustachio from the Wooden Mustache, and we also have joining us today one half of the Joinery Podcast, a 16th of Two Beards, One Cup Sunday morning show, and the pride and joy of Riverside, California, Mr. Legend, Ben with Conderosa Creations. How's it going?
Hey, hell of an intro, man.
I'm
Hell of
telling
an
you.
intro.
He nailed it.
1/16. David would love that. That's about as much work as I do. So.
I was gonna take it down to a 30-second, but we'll give you a 16.
I appreciate that. Dude,
Well,
thanks for having me on, fellas. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
bud, appreciate it, man. I was trying not to get distracted by Wackerle up there because he was trying to screw me up. He's trying to mess me up on these intros because I totally crashed one about how long ago was it?
Two, three.
Two and
Last week.
It was into the button. My mind went completely blank, and I forgot everybody's name. Seriously,
they're with a pot. They're with a. They do something.
we did. And I tried it. I think I was going on my third one, and I said, "The hell with it. We're just not gonna do it. Let's move on. Just move on."
Do it live.
Well, you killed that one, man. I feel very, very, very fortunate to be here. So it's awesome.
It pays to make
Write it all down.
to write it all down.
She's got a script now.
Come up with it. I had some other stuff to put in there, but I said I'll just go easy with Ben at the get-go, and then we'll just kind of progress into it because this ought to be a good show. This ought to be a good show. So what's going on?
I promise nothing in advance, just so you know.
We're all good. We're all good. So BJ, what do we got going on, bud?
What's glue with you? What's glue with you?
I swear I have got the loop turned off on that. I don't know what's going on. God. Well,
Rookies.
Let's just keep up the pattern, the cycle that we've been doing, this absolute circus show. Ben, what's going on this week in your shop? What do you got? What are you working on?
I just wrapped up another batch of trophies. I make trophies for a poker company that does poker tournaments all over the country, and now they're expanding up to the Great White North. And so I make the final table trophies. So I make the bases out of cherry, and then I use the CNC to cut them all out and shape them and all that stuff. And then we get the statues shipped to us, and then I drill out the hole on the bottom and throw a threaded insert in. And then I ship everything out to the company, and they actually take everything with them to the tournaments and assemble it all there. So I don't have to worry about shipping like actual full-size trophies, which is nice because when they're all put together, they're almost 12 inches tall. So I did that this week. I wrapped up the latest batch, and I do basically about 10 a month. They order like 100 at a time, and I basically just do about 10 a month because that's roughly around what they use. Sometimes they need more than that, so I'll do a rush order. But and then I made a little cutting board because you gotta get back to the roots sometimes. You know what I mean? And, so I knocked out a little scrap cutting board, and it's pretty much what I did this week in the shop. That's pretty much it. I mean, other than messing around in here, here and there, just fucking around.
Hey.
Oh, excuse my language. Sorry.
Oops. We'll be good.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it, man. That's what's glue with me.
What's glue with you? Nice. Well, all right. Moving on over to the man, the myth, the mustache. Have you?
Oh,
I did see, and I'm not going to step on your toes, but I saw you finally got something finished this week.
I did something. I actually did something. Oh, bite it, Matt. So I finally tackled my my water main. I got
Nice.
that. I got the frame all ripped out. I replaced it with pressure treated 2x4s. I did the pink board to basically make a box, and hopefully the moisture will try to stay out of that area. And I even cut the lid last night for that and got it all fit in there. So
It took
Look at
3
you.
hours.
hey,
You missed a hell of a show. I'm serious.
Was
We were
that before
highly
or after
entertained.
Before
That
or
was
after I jumped on?
after.
After.
I
Oh,
couldn't
Way
even
after.
breathe. I couldn't
way
breathe.
after. Way after. I mean,
I
like
did-
my
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
my shop has stuff scattered everywhere. I got piles of lumber everywhere. I have basically no room to work in there. And yeah, I was able to get that sheet of plywood onto some stands because the bench is buried with a bunch
Wait a
of crap
minute.
on
Wait
it.
a minute. Give some credit to somebody else who helped you now. You got to give some credit. Who helped you get that sheet of plywood?
Oh, my wife.
Yeah.
there you
My
go.
wife.
You need to thank
Yeah.
her.
Oh, she helped you lift it up onto the table, or what?
Well, it
Yeah.
was just awkward. It was like behind a bunch of like lumber
Oh,
piles.
she had to pull it out. She had to help you pull it
Yeah,
out.
she had to get one
Yeah.
side. I had to get the other side because otherwise I would have thrown my back out, and I wasn't really interested in doing that. So, yes, yes.
Come on.
Thank
only got
you,
one back.
thank you, Jackie. I love you.
Thanks, Jackie.
Yeah,
We appreciate that.
She's not gonna listen to this ever. So,
Ain't got murder in it or nothing. Yeah.
Dude, my wife has not listened to one episode of my podcast with Luke. Not one. And we've been doing it for how many years now?
quite a while. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Luke's wife doesn't listen either.
No, they could care less. It's like a distract. They were like, "You have a distraction, go for it."
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's all that matters.
We had that same discussion today. She said, I said, well, you have to sign in to be able to leave comments and stuff like that. She goes, yeah, I have an account. I said, oh, well, thank you for your support.
Time you're like, well, I understand it'd be a pain in the ass, sign up for an account,
Yeah.
and she's like, no, I'm there all the time.
I have one.
Just lurking.
My wife lurks in the background just to see if I'm gonna come out and say that I bought something else today or something because she never. I'm kind of
she doesn't know about.
That's how she balances the checkbook.
Yeah.
Another one.
Every
he
once
didn't
in a
tell
while
me
she'll
about.
pop in here and say, "You did what?" And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
exactly.
They gave it to me.
they gave it to me."
Uh-huh.
That's all you got, Mustache?
Yeah. That's about it. We
That's
got
about
we got my wife's niece coming up from Florida to stay for the week. So
Nice.
I'm gonna lose this office, and it's gonna be fun.
Mhm.
Well, let's
Sounds
let's
convincing.
move it on over to the other Matt with the epic beard.
Hmm.
What do you got going on this week?
So I got a couple things done in the shop. Not too much with the job going on, but I'm having a hard time keeping up with the knife scales. So I decided to quit procrastinating and go ahead and I poured the mold for that this morning. And we had an epic storm come through. We got like 9 inches of rain in an hour. It was ridiculous.
Good
I had a little bit of water that hit the shop this morning, last night or whatever, and so I looked at the drains and found out that I'm thinking that my pipe collapsed. That goes between the shop and the house. Got about 15 feet distance right there. That's in between them, but going down to the center of it, I think that it goes from a 4-inch to a 6-inch to an 8-inch, and I think it collapsed. And so we're looking at getting a demo saw and cutting out some concrete and putting in a new line. So that'll be fun. But
You're gonna fill it back in with brick or something, maybe finish it when you're done. So
well, when I'm done, I'm going to take the existing line and I'll go ahead and drop a grout, and I'll pour grout down inside of it until it fills up the void.
Got it.
Yeah, just to make sure there's nothing still moving. Sinkhole, stuff like that. I don't want that to happen.
Never fun.
Yeah. So that's what we got going on so far. Yeah, we start working on some more CNC stuff here shortly. So that's about it.
Nice.
What you got going on, BJ?
Well, I would say we'd go ahead and let Joey talk, but we know he hasn't opened any boxes or done anything this week.
Nothing.
So we'll just skip Joey. No, Joey, what you got going on?
Nothing. I haven't done a dang thing. Nothing.
Yeah, I did more than Joey. Woohoo!
Hey, he did open a box. I sent him some knife scales that were like 2 weeks old in his mailbox that he found.
Don't kill my thunder, man. I'm just going to show you. This has been sitting for about 6 months. It's a Elegoo vacuum pack storage kit for resin. Filament. So yeah, that's that. Haven't done anything else in the shop. The job's been hectic, and we're doing gardening stuff, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. So
gardening?
Yeah, gardening.
You said gardening?
Gardening. Gardening.
Are you down on the dirt, like getting dirty, or what?
A little bit. Not too much.
Planting some tomatoes and jalapenos, and
we were doing some trestles here a while ago, and I had to come in for the podcast. So we did some raised garden beds and building trestles out of hog paneling or cattle paneling, and we're gonna work those beds and plant the rest of the stuff. We've got a lot of my wife's been making starting the seeds off in a little kind of like a
propagation thing.
Yeah, and we'll transplant them. My corn is doing pretty good. I don't want to make this into a gardening show, but I'm going to have to replant some of it. Some of it didn't take, but we're going to have a lot of vegetables. I don't like them, but I like the corn. That's about it. Maybe I'll make some ketchup out of the tomatoes.
Some tomatoes and some jalapenos and stuff. Make some salsa.
That's the main thing that I wanted. I got a lot of different peppers to make salsa. To make some, make some hot sauce. So we've got tomatoes, onions. I mean, you name it, red, white, yellow onions, and a lot of different pepper plants, jalapenos, just a lot of stuff. It's a big Texas-sized garden. It's not small. So
I lost the over/under, by the way. I had 15 minutes with David before you mentioned ketchup on this podcast. So I lost.
Y'all had a bet. I gave that guy a lot of time to give me something on you, just like how you threw him under the bus with his little fiasco that he had. And he never took me up on it. He didn't give me anything. So he just, he cuts.
He's a stand-up guy. That guy, David.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he
doesn't take those cheap shots. Yeah.
But anyhow, I don't have anything going. I'm going to pivot on the Make What You Fear. We talked about it last night. It's not what I really wanted, so probably got something else that I'm going to try. Hence, what's sitting in the back of my truck. I had to go pick that up, and hopefully, I'll take that out of the box and use it. But other than that,
so it's not only in the box. You didn't even bring it in from the truck.
Think of it. You're like my kids right now. Dude. Like I tell my kids all the time when they don't finish their food, I'm like, look, there's other kids out there who would love to be eating that right now, what you're not eating.
Starving.
You know how many makers are out there who would be dying to use that tool that you just have sitting in the box?
Thank you, Ben. Thank you. Thank you for throwing me under the bus. I'm trying to keep it a secret. Hence why I told you what I told you a while ago, but nobody listened to me. So if she's lurking in the background, she already knows. She's probably walking to my truck right now to go see what the hell I've got in the back.
Gotta balance that checkbook, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Ben.
Oh,
Thanks a
I don't
lot.
think I was the first one to bring it up. I just
Yeah, you
added
were.
on.
Thanks a
I just
lot.
added on.
Oh, he
But I
dropped
was
3
trying to
bills
just
on that
like
one.
get that out so it wouldn't be talked about again, and you just had to bring it up.
You love me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Ben. Jesus. But anyhow,
Good
no.
evening.
I was trying the whole thing. I was going to sneak it in later because she'll get tired.
She's down there. What am I looking
Yeah.
for?
Hey, you're the one. You're the one still talking about it.
Thanks a lot, Ben.
I'm never going to be invited back to this podcast. I can just tell you that much.
Damn, Ben.
Joey, you just want to kick him out right now? We'll just keep going.
Hey, I think you stay in. This is great.
Anyhow, yeah, that's let's just move on to BJ.
Well, so last week I was finishing up the tic-tac-toe game. Got that finished. Did have to pivot. The balloons did not work, unfortunately. So we used tissue paper. But I'd say the game was a hit. The few kids that played it at the open house festival thing, they seemed to enjoy it. But this week, I did work, kind of took over just because I'm on vacation next week. So I worked a little late every night this last week, other than, stuff that we had planned. But today I went hard in the shop. I got since we're going camping, everybody with trucks, you've always got the bed dividers and stuff to keep all your junk from sliding to the front of the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've had one in my truck that was in my old truck that's just nasty 2x6, and it's just every time you grab it, I swear somebody's gonna get a splinter. And I've had this belt sander. Well, technically that's a belt sander. But I made a new shit.
I'm sorry, man. This is too fucking funny.
We're never gonna get through this.
Oh,
No.
man.
It's all right. It's all right. It's a good show. That's good. Go ahead, PJ.
But no, I made a new belt sander, a new bed divider for
So
my
your
truck.
stuff won't go forward.
Yep. And what I did is I took it's 2x6, but I glued another 2x6 to it, so it's 7 inches tall. And then I took because I was feeling froggy, so I took I think it was a 2.5 inch Forstner bit and drilled a bunch of holes to put handles in it, just so it's easier to get in and out. And I really got fancy. I even got my angle finder out, found the angle of the bed sides, cut the sides of the bed divider so it slides in. It's nice and pretty. And I got it all done, sanded up, and I'm like, do I want to stain it or no? And I had also spent all day washing both cars, washing the camper. We went to a local nursery to pick up plants so my wife could do her gardening, carried a bunch of bags of raised garden bed soil. And so by the time I got everything sanded, my body just started screaming. And I'm like, it's going to be under a bed cover. No one's ever going to see this thing. It doesn't need to be stained. It's just 2x6 pine. It is what it is. But yeah, that's about it. And what's funny is I came in from doing all this stuff and I was like, you know what? I guess I should take a shower before the podcast. And of course my wife's like, why? They can't smell you. I'm like, yeah, I can smell me. And she goes, oh yeah, you do still smell like cow poop, because the raised garden bed stuff is like 20% manure or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, every time if I was out working, washing the cars, sweating or doing something, every time I wipe my face, I'm like, man, that smell. And it's like, because it is, my arms were just coated in
it's
that.
called intelligent pills.
Yep.
when you taste it, if it smells like dung, you're getting smarter.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know about that, but yeah. But yeah, we got, talking about what Joey said about the gardening stuff, we got almost everything we wanted because we buy we don't go from seeds. We've got a nursery that has pre-started plants for a couple dollars. And the only thing they didn't have was they didn't have any peppers because we've still got some cold nights ahead of us. And they're like, yeah, it's, probably end of the month we'll have peppers in. And so we'll do that. And we do like 4 or 5 different kinds of peppers and tomatoes. I think 2 years ago, we were getting so many cherry tomatoes out of our garden that everything we ate had tomatoes in it. Because you were harvesting like a 3-gallon bucket worth of tomatoes every time you went out to the garden.
Wow.
Which was awesome because I love cherry tomatoes. I can sit there and eat those things like candy. So I was loving life. But yeah, that's been my weekend. Next week I'm on vacation. So
Ooh, nice.
I have yet to decide if I want to spend every day in the shop working on stuff because we're going camping for one night. So I'm gonna have a lot of time here at the house. And so you never know. I might completely remodel my shop. You never know.
Hey, there you go.
oh,
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
just fly up here and help me put my shop back together.
If it wasn't my daughter's spring break, I would be doing something. But we took off for spring break, and yeah, and I made it a point. I told my boss, I was like, unless it is an absolute emergency, and even if it is an absolute emergency, I'll talk to you when I get back. I have disconnected. Phone, iPad, everything are turned off. I'm not worrying about work for a week because my brain needs to just not be there. I'm worrying about family.
The out of office, I will be limited.
Oh, dang it! I have to go turn.
accessibility.
I will have to turn my iPad back on because I forgot to set my out of office status. So after the podcast, I need to go do that.
Hot dog! Look at that! Look at that!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
All right.
Well, all right. Let's get into this circus.
Let's
What are
go.
we talking about today, fellas?
Well,
Wait, we got one
No.
Patreon.
Yeah, we did.
One little Patreon
One little Patreon.
announcement. I would like to thank a brand new patron, Scott Shirk from Willow Creek Lumber. We thank you for your support. And I also give a shout out to Keith Drennan from Blackthorn Concepts. If you would like to help support us on our podcast endeavor, there are links for our Patreon on our YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, as well as this video right here. You could be a patron. You could be a patron right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
This present moment. You could
do it.
You could do that. So thank you, Scott and Keith, and back to our regularly scheduled program.
So slick how you guys have banners that come across the bottom of the screen. Everything is super slick.
We try to be professional, Ben, until we get somebody like you that's just screwing it all up and
see how well it works, right?
but
professional.
But Ben,
I saw the quality of the pre-show and I thought I'm going to fit right in here. So
talking about that, do y'all remember it's been 10, 15 years ago, there was a YouTube skit and it was a baseball player. I cannot remember his name. And the joke was semi-pro. And every time he would do something, he'd be like, semi-pro. Every time we talk, I'll have to find it and see if I can send it to everybody. But I always think about that. It's like, yeah, we're not professionals. We're not amateurs. We're semi-pro.
Yeah.
Giving it the good college try.
Yeah.
So Ben, why don't you give us a little background story of you and how you got to where you're at today? Give us some where you got started.
Well, there's kind of like two sides of this thing, like me and Debbie and I first started the Conderosa Creations business in 2019, 2020. she had just lost her job, and we were trying to, and literally like it was right at the end of 2019, because by March of 2020, the world shut down, and all my business, because I do live audio broadcasting for sports and stuff like that, so all my work just went away at the same time. So right around that time, we decided, look, she's pretty crafty. I was always, and I did construction and stuff, and I was pretty handy as well. So we just kind of decided, let's try and start making stuff. And it was, her dad was a woodworker and had some tools in his shop, and he had just passed away the year prior to that, and had a shop full of scrap wood, and then a few tools like a miter saw and a planer. And so I grabbed those, brought them back to our house, and we kind of just started going, you know what I mean? And like we started off making like hand painted signs and Christmas decor, or holiday decor type stuff, you know what I mean? Like, because she was very handy with the painting, and she painted everything by hand. So I would make the stuff out of wood, she would paint it. And things started, we started selling things here on Etsy, and things started moving. And then I made my first cutting board. I decided, hey, I'm gonna make and I didn't know what I was doing. I made it out. I used Douglas fir. I used, a lot of different things that I had in my shop that I just didn't know any better. You know what I mean? Right. It was just like, it's wood. It should be fine. You know what I mean? And so I made it, and it obviously didn't turn out great, but and then I started getting on YouTube, and I watched some videos, and I kind of picked things up, and I started getting on Instagram and meeting people, and and then I went to my first lumber yard and basically walked in, loaded. It's the story that everybody tells. Same story. Loaded my cart full of wood, went up to the front. They rang it all up, and it was like $600. And I was like, what are you talking about? Because I didn't understand board feet. I didn't understand, it said $12. This thing said $12. Yeah. That was per board foot. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I quickly unloaded the cart and went home and told Debbie, like, we got to rethink this. You know what I mean? Like
you guys are spending money.
So, and it just, over those next 2 years, basically during the pandemic and all that stuff, and over that time when we were home together, we just kicked ass and just turned this garage into a full-fledged working wood shop. You know what I mean? We were taking orders all over the place from anybody who would want something. You know what I mean? Like, we were making urns for people. We were making, I started making helmet racks, where for people's motorcycle helmets. I designed this helmet rack with a piece of maple 18 inches tall, and then I got like piping, like industrial piping, and I screwed it all together and made it like a helmet rack out of it. And then I custom design a piece on the top to put it up there. And I did a bunch of cool stuff those couple years, and that's kind of where it all got started. You know what I mean? And then I had dreams of CNC working and lasers and stuff and all that, and that's eventually where I got to now, but it was a long process. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where it all started. Oh yeah, Matt has one of our signs. I forgot.
I do because I am a nerd, and nerds do rule.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones that we made. But yeah, that's kind of where it started. It was out of necessity. We needed to make money to survive, and kind of, we had some income coming in from unemployment at that time, but we had 2 young kids, and mortgage to pay and everything. So we just basically started hustling, and started doing whatever we could to bring in money. And so that's kind of where it all started. You know what I mean? And then the broadcasting side of it, like the podcast and all that stuff, is just because what I do for a living, the audio stuff, I kind of, that's just kind of something I've always done. So that's that whole side of my whatever, the joinery podcast and the thing with David, the lives, and the Friday night lives with you fellas, you know what I mean? Like all that's just kind of my necessity to talk in front of people, you know what I mean? And just like act
Get the
fool.
words out.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's kind of where it started, man. That's kind of, in a nutshell. There's a lot that goes into it, but that's kind of use the outdated term, the Reader's Digest version.
Well, it looks like you put some more of your family in there too. I saw some of your kids working in. What's that like, having your kids inside the shop?
Oh yeah, they love it. My daughter, she's 11. She's probably spent more time in here than my son, who's 9.
Mhm.
But yeah, they I try and get them out here as much as possible. I encourage them to learn, and I as soon as I knew that they could hold the orbital sander, I was like,
Sander, dude. You know, buddy. It's fun.
you guys are in for it now. You know what I mean? So
You want an allowance this week?
Yeah.
That's just when every time they're out there. Look, sanding is so much fun.
Oh yeah,
it's a blast.
Oh yeah. And they're still
Tired
young.
of this, Grandpa.
They're still young enough they don't know any better. So and they don't charge me anything yet, so that's another plus. But yeah, no, I love having my kids out here, man. I and my son is very creative, and I feel like he's trending towards this. You know what I mean? He loves building with cardboard right now. He loves, drawing and painting and 3D design. Like he's my 9-year-old, and I look, I've put almost zero effort into learning 3D design and stuff. But my 9-year-old, he's already in it. You know what I mean? Like he's on Tinkercad. He's designing stuff for us to 3D print on the 3D printer, and he's totally into it. So and that's kind of how I look at this, Matt, to answer your question in a nutshell. Mm-hmm. Like I'm trying to get all the tools I can possibly get to give them the opportunities to, hopefully be doing stuff, by the time they're in high school. They have a laser, they have a CNC, they have a 3D printer, they have every wood tool they could use to make something right now, you know what I mean? And I'm hoping that they use it, you know what I mean? That's that's kind of, as much as I love it, I'm hoping that it's going to be a family thing, that they moving forward, that they make stuff, because I've turned them bowls on the lathe, that they each have their own personal bowls that I laser engraved with Frankie's snack bowl. Like I love doing stuff like that with them, because I feel like I'm creating those memories, and hopefully the passion to get in there and do it. So
definitely.
Yeah, definitely. You always see that you incorporate your kids in everything. I mean, even when you're making like something cooking, because I've seen you do a lot of things like that, man, and you're always like cooking up some good stuff, and the kids are there. The 3D printing, man, y'all went crazy with the 3D printing. It's wild to watch.
It's fun, man. I mean, that's what it's the 3D printing is like. I told Luke, like I would love to design and be a guy who does that type of stuff, but just for me, it's more of like a print and play kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like there's so many files and so many like super talented people out there already designing. Like I'm just gonna gum it up, man. I'm fine just finding something that I like and printing it, and you know what I mean. And it's like magic. Like I don't know if any of you guys have printers who can explain it in a way that somebody can actually understand it. But to me, it's magic. You know what I mean? Like I look at the 3D printer and I go, I don't understand how liquid turns into with printing and the way it makes zero sense to me. You know what I mean?
It's funny you say it. So the other day I was at a customer's house, and the dog comes running in there, and he's got a 3D printed dragon in his mouth.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh yeah, my son got this for Christmas." She goes, "I've been thinking about getting a 3D printer. I don't get it. I don't get what the point is." I was like, "Well, for a kid, it's a toy factory.
Yeah.
That's what it is." And she's like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Ma'am, my kids have so much junk that I've 3D printed them. That's random models, random everything. It's like, yeah, you're going to spend a couple $100 on this printer, $15 to $20 a roll in filament, but getting them to learn the design side of it, aside from just going online and finding stuff to print. Like, yeah, they could print their own toys.
Mhm.
It's like, heck, you could technically print Lego on there if
Yeah.
you wanted to.
Yep.
Like, I've
Yeah.
seen files for like certain Lego out there and all kinds of stuff, like games, and it's I laughed walking around the festival that my daughter had, the open house, and like, oh, they got a 3D printer, they got a 3D printer, they got a laser, and I had another dad come up to me and he's like, hey, you got a laser too? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And we spent 10 minutes talking about lasers.
Yeah.
And then another dad's like, I was like, oh, hey, what 3D printer do you have? He's like, how do you know that? I was like, I can see it. I can see the filament lines from here. Like,
Yeah.
like the layer lines. Like,
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I've got this printer and this. He's like, oh, do you got them? I was like, yeah, I got a couple. And
It's starting to it's starting to like be more common. It's starting
yeah,
like
it's more,
like 2 years ago, or like a year ago, I would be talking to Luke and he would be like he was super into it, but like I didn't know a lot of other people who were really into it at that time. Now it seems like everybody has 3D printers. But then even like at my daughter's school, like some kid the other day, she came home and she's like, Dad, have you heard of the world's smallest rubber duck? I'm like, no, what are you talking about? She's all, it's on Maker World. And I'm like, and to hear her talking about Maker World was so like, I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, some kid in my school, dad has a 3D printer and he's bringing these tiny. So naturally, I've now printed 300 little mini ducks. That it's like it's the trend. You know what I mean? You guys haven't had that? You haven't run into that yet?
Not the mini ducks, no.
Oh
No,
yeah,
they're ducks, but no,
they're less
other
than a.
things.
They're
I'm
less
gonna
than
tell you. I'm gonna tell you something. When those shop doors open, you know how when kids scatter off the playing field and the ball bounces, when those shop doors open, it's like poof, they're gone. It's like where they're at, they're hiding. That's how mine. I gotta call them out to come and help. But
I just gotta share Jason's praise for you, Ben.
Jason's a great dude. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah. So for the podcast listeners, Jason said Ben does more than he lets on. His own podcast, good hosts on others, helps makers when he can, volunteers at his kids' school, part-time maker, and more.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I'm also the PTO president. So
yes,
Mr.
you are.
Mr. President.
That's El Presidente to you, sir.
But
So you guys need to think back. Think back to like when you were a kid, and I started collecting tools when I was about 15. So I look at that, and you look at the complexity level of what it is that we were using back then, to not how to use it in the programming and this, that, the other, but just to cut it and be able to get things to work, right? So you had table saws and skill saws and jigsaws, whatever it was, and you were building stuff, and it was complex to get it all built. And now you look at what's out there, and I mean, in that short period, and I say short period of time, I mean, it's been 30 years, but you look at that the level of how far it's gone in the maker world to, and the technology of how fast it's progressed is just amazing.
I mean, we were just talking about this morning on the coffee show I do with David. Like, dude, just from 3 years ago to where it is now, like in the laser realm, just that alone. Good boy. Just that alone, like dude, we like when remember the Gorfy, Matt? Remember the little tiny square portable laser that we all were buying like years ago? Yeah, it was like the OG laser pecker. You know what I mean? Like it was before. It was like right when like little lasers came on the scene. You know what I mean? Until and look now, everybody's got the Ortours and the freaking, or the not the Ortours, but the what's the other one? The big one,
Omnitech and
Omtech.
The We Creates and all these laser peckers and all these it's just like that. Just in those 3 years, the technology is
what
I mean? I'll kick it back to even like the 3D printing when I first started back in, I think it was I don't know, 2013, whatever. I bought the first one of the first dang it, what's the name of it?
Ender Prusa, the guy?
No.
Dremel.
A Dremel.
Oh yeah, I remember the Dremel ones. Yeah.
Oh Oh,
See,
I saw
yes.
one of those at the library, and I was like, "What the fuck?" They make
Yeah,
I keep
they're
cussing, I'm
like,
sorry, guys.
no, you're fine. They're like, I mean, that was ancient stuff, dude.
Yep.
We bought a computer. It was by Hewlett
Commodore
Packard.
64 for him.
It was this guy.
Texas Instruments. Who remembers
Yeah.
Texas Instruments? Come on, dude. Come on. I'm old. I get it. You know.
Yeah, the Oregon Trail kind of stuff, But this thing had a scanner overhead where you can 3D model. You could put an object on a turntable basically, and it would.
Oh, no way.
It'll scan it, right?
Mhm.
And then you
Oh.
send it to the printer, and it
Mhm.
print it. Back then, the design aspect, it's like nothing like what you see now. I mean, an ender and all that's like, the Sprout. My wife is correcting me. The Sprout. It was a whole combination deal that you bought.
Mhm.
Coolest thing, And then we progressed into now where you have, 3D scanners where they can scan something and just input it into the computer.
Your cell phone's a 3D scanner now.
That's what I
mean,
heard.
Yeah.
I
it's
heard that.
insane. Even like the laser, the Eons now that are coming out, or like the Trotex. The Trotex now, we had the Country Port Swing on the show where she has a printer that it's a laser color printer type deal that'll print
UV laser printer.
UV laser printer,
UV.
right?
Yeah.
And it puts marks on that print to where it takes it straight into the Trotec, and the Trotec will actually recognize those registration marks, and it knows to cut those designs out like
so
she
cool.
does earring. It's freaking wild, man, how technology is just crazy, how these machines, like you could just mass produce stuff.
Like, I think, honestly, I know this is kind of, I mean, whatever, but I think you could look forward 10 years, right? And I think 3D printers are going to be like standard in people's houses. You know what I mean? I think the price is going to come
be
down.
part of life. Yeah.
It's going to come down so much that like everybody's just going to have, you need a cup. Here's a cup. You know what I mean? Print a cup.
Well,
you need that. You need this. Print that. You know what I mean? Like
I
printed.
And Bamboo opened that door, though. Bamboo opened that door.
Yeah. And what it is,
what I see coming is that you're going to have manufacturers go, "Oh, you broke that part. Bloop, here you go," and they'll send you a file, and you
Yes.
print it.
Exactly.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, and it's I don't know exactly what it's called. I call it the Gene Roddenberry theory.
Mm-hmm.
Because you look at a lot of things that were on Star Trek,
Mhm.
even the original Star Trek and the Next Generation and stuff like that, and that technology, we have it, like handheld computers, mobile communication devices, freaking what were they called, where they could Earl Grey tea hot, the replicators.
Oh yeah.
That's a replicator right there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I can't make. Well, I mean, and you can buy them that make food.
Well, I was gonna say they 3D print these things. They have 3D printers for everything now. I mean, houses, food, medical stuff. I mean, they're just gonna be. It's amazing. And I'm not like, I love 3D printing. I'm not I couldn't help you design anything. You know what I mean? I'm not on that level, but I appreciate it for what I appreciate it for, which is the fact that I can, like, my daughter needed a tape dispenser thing for school the day before school, and I was like, oh shoot, I don't want to go to the store at 11 o'clock to buy this, but you'll have one in the morning. It was by in the morning time she had one. You know what I mean? And it was like amazing. You know, that's just futuristic. You know what I mean? Like that's just.
Yeah.
So cool. And it's been great though, because you notice, like, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but everybody getting these printers, you could see your sales, like what we were doing, 3D printing and selling stuff. Now everybody, they're so common that it's like, hey, can I just have the file? Let me have the file, send files, and you can print your own stuff now, which, like you say, it's good for your school kid. You can make stuff for the kids.
Yeah.
You can make stuff for your shop. I mean, it's so common. It saves you money. It really does, in the long run.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Well, and it takes us back to, 50, 60 years ago, where a lot of stuff, was done in the house. We were a society of fixers and makers, And that's and probably not even 50, 60 years ago, 70, 80, maybe 100 years ago, where if something was broke, you could fix it. You had the ability, and now you have that ability to fix what's broke. It's not, well, let me go buy this replacement part. Let me go buy this thing, or I want to, I want this or that. Find it, print it, make it, and you're good. Like, I wanted something stupid last night. I wanted the Loki's mask from the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. I 3D printed the mask, and I want a life-size T-Rex skull in my house. My wife won't say yes, but if I could, if I get the approval, I could have a life-size T-Rex skull in my house.
Yeah. I just printed Frankie my son, a small T-Rex head, and it comes with a little stand. He loved it. He was so excited. But that's what I'm saying. Like, even that, he was stoked. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like hero every day. I'm like the hero. Yeah. It's like great.
I've had to limit my daughter because she comes in here every time I'm in the office. Can you print me something? Can you print me something? I'm like, no. You get one thing a month.
Oh wow, well, one thing a month? Holy moly!
Oh, because if she had her way, these things would be running 24/7. I would literally have a toy factory going.
It's like
everything.
Yeah, it's like JR's son, Tress Studios. It's like him. His little boy was constantly coming out there. Dad, I want this. Dad, when he first got it, it's the greatest thing, man. When he got that 3D printer, that man was just making stuff, and to him, I seen him. That dude's super talented. I'm getting off on a tangent here, but watching him make these signs here lately, it's like,
I just told him that the other day, Joey.
It's like,
I just told him that.
Yeah. It's crazy because I thought it was acrylic because he's taking his laser game and it's, super just broken into this deal and just took off running with it.
Yep.
And it's like now, with the 3D printing, he's found some stuff and he showed us, and it's like, dude. It's crazy. It's good to watch that kind of stuff.
Yeah, his game, like his craftsmanship. He was those signs, those Dodger signs he was making back in the day were awesome, right? But like seeing him step up to these signs that he's making now, I just told him that. I was like, dude, you're going up, bro. Like it's really, you can tell that he's spending the time and really mastering that technique. You know what I mean? Like, it looks really good.
Yeah, sure does. So let's talk about, I want to know your podcast. How starting a podcast, what kind of issues did y'all run into? It's always good when we have other podcast people that come on here and they have their own stuff, kind of just talk about what y'all have gone through and what y'all have ran upon, because we still struggle, as you can see, starting this off.
Look, dude, like the amount of effort that is put into your guys' podcast versus ours is like 1,000-fold. You know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous. Like it's Luke and I. If any of you guys, I don't know if any of you guys, I know Matt and Joey know who Luke is, but I don't know if you guys really know Luke.
What's his handle?
Luke in the garage.
Yeah, I know who he is. I don't know who he is.
Well, he's a crazy person, right? He's just a crazy person. That's basically the best way to describe him. And we got to know each other during the pandemic, and we kind of just hit it off, and we would talk every day for hours at a time. He was working I worked from home at the time. He was doing a job where he was free a lot, so we spent a lot of time talking and getting to know each other, and we'd just be laughing all the time. And I just one day was like, dude, like you're a crazy person and have like the most ridiculous stories. You know what I mean? Just shit that you can't imagine it happened to this person. You know what I mean? Like, and it would seem like he had a different one every day I talked to him. So I was like, let's just start recording this, and we both, partake of the devil's lettuce.
Devil's lettuce. Yep.
And so we kind of the jointery is a play on the joinery. Like
I was going to ask that,
and the jointery is a play on that, and so we kind of went with that. And the funny thing is we don't talk about that really ever on the podcast, like very rarely. I mean, we talk about it here and there, but it's mainly about food, our kids, what we watch, nonsense, mostly nonsense, oddity, science, stories, a lot of food. I said food, right? Yeah, we talk a lot about food.
No, you can come back around to food.
Yeah, we
food.
Hey, I'm over here eating right now, so
I'm thinking about eating. So
yeah, and so we just kind of started it off, and I do all the editing and putting up the podcast, and Luke does the majority of the talking, and which is fine with me also. And no, it's good. It's just fun, dude. Like it's something that we laughed at. Like, look, we're doing this. If people listen, that's great, and we have consistent listeners and supporters. We have a Patreon, and we have people every month that support us, like Matt here, who's an amazing dude. So it's a lot of fun, and we try to not take ourselves too seriously and just kind of have fun with it, and we hope that it comes off that way. We talk a lot of trash about ourselves. We tend to say like we don't care if people listen, and we don't care, although we do. We really enjoy it. It's something that we really like. Every time we do it, we're like, God, man, we had so much fun doing it, and we it's something that it's fun. You know what I mean? Like we just have fun with it. That's what we try to do, anyways. And we try to get other people to laugh. That's like the main goal. Like if people hit us up afterwards and just say like the most ridiculous things and say it was funny, then I feel like we're winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you can't make fun of yourself, then what's the point? And have a good time.
So I'll ask: do y'all go into it with a plan, or is it just
nope? Zero plan.
Let's just start talking.
When we first started,
Luke has the list. Luke has the list that he wants to go through.
That is true.
So when you first started, how long ago?
When we started this 2 years ago,
21, 22, probably.
Maybe 22. I think it was 2022.
Okay.
We started it. I was trying to like have notes and like a structure, and like I tried to shout outs at the end, and tried to kind of keep us in like but that went away after 6 months, and now we basically show up, the mics pop on, and if you ever listen, it just starts mid conversation. Like it's like the goal we kind of want is like it's like you walk up on us at a party and you're just hearing our conversation, and that's basically how every episode starts. You know what I mean? Like it's usually midway through Luke telling me a crazy story, or him, I'm so angry today about this type of thing, and then we're off and running.
And then Luke's always like, "Oh, we're recording already."
Oh yeah, that's another thing. I usually try and start it before he knows. You know what I mean? So that's just fun. That's fun for me. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times he doesn't. We've been doing it for so long. I kind of have an idea of what he would want to be aired and what is supposed to not be aired. You know what I mean? But sometimes I ride that line. You know what I mean? which is fun,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the that's the tall and skinny of it. Is that how we said it? I think so.
The tall and skinny of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, man.
Yeah.
So y'all still busting out a lot of stuff in the shop, and other than the trophies, is there any other kind of stuff that y'all are putting out there? Or
well, now that Debbie is working full time, like she's kind of out of this realm a lot. She started back working. But no, I mean, I've been doing just the 3D printing more, as far as like outside of the shop, like just part of the whole my daily or weekly thing. The 3D printing has been fun. I've been to be honest with you guys, I mean, I've kind of been in that rut where you make something every month for a job, and when you walk in your shop and you go, ugh, I gotta make trophies. I gotta make trophies again. You know what I mean? So it's like, as much as I love the work and I love the money, it's like over this last year since I've started this process, it's kind of killed my joy for the shop. You know what I mean? Which sucks. You know what I mean? Which I hate, because I forever was shop hound. It was like I used to call it. You know what I mean? Because I was just in here all the time, and so I'm looking for my passion again, Joey. To be honest with you, man, like I'm looking for it, and I think I've been talking to David a lot about it. I think a lot of it is functionality of my shop. You know what I mean? Like trying to figure out better ways to. Thanks, David. Yeah, it's like I think the flow of my shop's a little weird right now. Like I was just talking about, my jointer, I have it tucked underneath below a workbench. You know what I mean? And that's a tool that I feel like every job should start there. You know what I mean? At least like one of, that's a tool that should be used at the beginning of everything, and I tend to tuck it away, and I can get away with just using the table saw to straight line this or whatever. Like, so little things like that. Like I'm trying to refocus and rethink my shop, and I'm hoping that that'll help me be more motivated to get out here and make stuff and get my lathe up on a cart, because right now that's just sitting on the floor of my shop, and I love turning, but not having a dedicated space for my lathe is like really frustrating. I don't know if Joey, if you can understand that. But
well, his sits on the CNC, so it has a dedicated place.
The boxes on top of that.
Oh, he's on the David Miller plan. I see.
Yeah. I was wondering, you at least they led with that, not that it's in the box. But I was going to say, what better friend to have is that Mr. Miller. He could probably. I would like to be a fly on the wall when he walks into your shop, because just knowing that guy, he's commented on stuff of mine before, and like, good God, clean that place up. And it's he's probably sitting over there in the corner sucking on his thumb, just watching.
He's accepted me. He's accepted me for who I am, Joey. We're that good of friends. He knows that he does not expect that level of cleanliness from me that he holds himself to, which is fine, which I appreciate. But no, having David it's great as a motivator. You know what I mean? Having that guy as a friend, because he's always active. You know what I mean? He's always busting stuff out. He'll be like, I'll talk to him. 10. I got 10 cutting board orders. I got this. I got 20, coasters, or not coasters, but tumblers I got to do. You know what I mean? So he's always cranking. You know what I mean? So like, it is motivating having somebody like that you talk to all the time, because it's like, it really makes you realize what a piece of trash you are. You know what I mean? You're like,
see, he's already telling me. We
need to gut his shop. I mean, half the tools in here are David's old tools anyway, so it's all works out nicely. I'm on the David Miller layaway program, so
there you go.
I always tease him about that.
That's literally something I love to do, is design shops and how the layout is and how it flows. I love designing shops.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I wanted to say earlier. Like the funnest part, like one of the funnest. Yeah, that's a word. One of the funnest things. One of the most fun things that I did in the first few years of doing this was all the little shop stuff. You know what I mean? Like building all the little tool holders, and like all my chisels have like really cool wood walnut tool holders, and all different like cool things like that. Like that to me is like really fun. You know what I mean? Like if I could just do that, Matt, like let me just come to your shop and build you tool holders and stuff like that. That would be awesome. You know what I mean? That would be great. But unfortunately, nobody wants to buy tool holders that you make, because they all want to make them for themselves. You know what I mean? So,
if you want to come down and make mine, I won't say no.
All right, coming down to Texas. but yeah, so yeah, I love that part, that aspect of the shop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is building little things like that, and now 3D printing things. Like I just 3D printed a holder for my air gun, my air nozzle. I 3D printed a little hook for it. You know,
Oh, to like dock it, to like
to
hold
dock
it.
it. Yeah, like it's perfect. You know
That
what I mean? It was
sounded
like,
weird.
Well, and
we're not doxing anything over here.
Yeah, I think just getting out there and building little tool holders and just little things for the shop, that can get you out of a rut. You know, if you are, because I've had those moments where it's like, oh, I've got all these stuff to do. I've got these orders to get. I've got this. All right, I'm going to take an hour and just do something for me.
Well, that's what that cutting board was this week.
Yeah.
Like I forced myself. I
something for you.
Yeah, I did a story the week prior about all my scrap wood. You know what I mean? And I was like, dude, I just have all this scrap wood just sitting here. Like, I need to do something with it. So the next week, this week, I was like, I cleaned out one bin and I turned that into a cutting board. You know what I mean? It was small. It was a bunch of small pieces, but it did feel good to do that. You know what I mean? To actually make something outside of trophies. You know what I mean? So.
Yep. Well, to go back to BJ's point, also, you know, you do that little like 1-2 holder or that one thing that you've been putting off forever, and it might take 5 minutes, and you're like, why did I put that off for so long?
Yep.
Quick wins, baby.
Yeah, the quick wins make all the difference.
I was gonna say that Matt Wackerle, he's taking me out of those kind of ruts. He's like, dude, I'll tell him this is what I need to do, and it's good to talk with somebody, right? And he's like, well, why don't you do this? It's a quick win, and it'll get you going. And it always does. Those quick little things you can make, and you see progress, and then you get motivated, and it's like, yeah, now I need to do this and go, you know, and then you just take off from there. Because man, I get into some bad ruts, you know, and a lot of time it's just the job, you know. You're just constantly working, and when you get home, it's like you just want to relax and just hang out. Not
and it's been nice recently. David's been he's kind of like my accountability buddy. We talk like every day, and he kind of calls me and just like, what are you doing today? What have you been up to? Like, you know, kind of like keeps me in line, keeps me in check, which is kind of nice. You know what I mean? I need something like that to, you know, so it's nice to have somebody checking in on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Outside of your wife, of course, who does that constantly, but it's different. You know what I mean? That's a different feeling.
It's like that motivation of the shop. My wife is more than happy to let me sit on the couch and watch TV with her when I get home from work. And it's like, oh, I need to go do this. I need to go, and that's why, like, I've made it almost a point every Sunday, because I'm guaranteed to be off on a Sunday. Every Sunday, I'm going to spend a couple hours in the shop, whether it's a deadline project or what, and just get out there and do something. Like, heck, I mean, I've even gone out there for 30 minutes after work just to sweep and vacuum.
What's that?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't.
So I gotta, you know, we'll go off on a quick tangent. So as most people know, I've upgraded my dust collection. Thank you, Matt, for spending all that money for me. I used the floor sweep today. I haven't used the floor sweep since I've got the Rockler push vacuum floor sweep thing. Yeah, I think it's too powerful. It's sucking sucks my because I've got that cheap like gym like preschool floor where it it interlocks together.
Oh yeah, I got that.
It's sucking it up off the ground.
So that's why I went to the horse mats.
That's what I told my daughter, because she was having to walk alongside it as I'm vacuuming to hold the floor down so I could vacuum up all the wood chips from the Forster bit.
So what I did is I put two spacers on the front of it to keep it off the ground so it doesn't go all the way down to get that suction. Yeah, that's what I had to do.
Well, see, the problem I have is I've lost both the wheels to that thing, so
it screwed mine in.
Yeah, I need to do something. Probably 3D print something.
There you go.
I was gonna say you have a 3D printer. You know,
I know.
I think one of those floor.
You got to do
sweeps
the
would be-
mask. You got to do
Yeah.
Loki's mask. Come on.
I've got
That's true.
a knitted hippopotamus printing right now. So yeah,
That's dope.
I print. I am the world's worst when it comes to practical prints. My whole show, if I could show you my shelf above my computer, it's 90% 3D printed models. We love skulls. My wife works in the veterinary world.
Oh,
So
nice.
we have skulls from all kinds of animals that I've 3D printed all over the house. And it's funny. I have a T-Rex skull that's about 2 feet long that sits on my mantle in my living room.
She's not bringing skulls home from work, is she? She's not
No.
I knew you were gonna ask that, Ben.
It's a valid question.
Yeah.
Their house looks like a crypt. I mean, it's a valid question.
We're not there yet. No. Our one of our dogs had 2 teeth pulled the other day, and yeah, they came home with her.
Of course they did. She's gonna wear them as a necklace.
No, we're not going that far. No, God, no.
You're not gonna pour them in epoxy and make her a necklace, BJ?
No.
Come on,
I'm not.
BJ.
No. Yeah. No, and I think we've got gallstones in a jar from some animal. Like,
Yeah, all you
random-
guys. That's crazy. That is
yeah.
crazy.
My daughter had me cast she had a bird's call that she had found and had it all clean. She got it all cleaned up, took care of it. And she says, "Can we cast this?" And I was like, "Sure."
Yeah.
And we cast it in clear resin, made it, and then I turned it into a ball.
Is that the
And
weirdest
it-
thing you've cast in resin before, Matt? Let's be honest. I didn't think so.
I had some requests when I was doing all those skulls, and it's like, I'm gonna draw the
All right,
line right there.
What's the weirdest thing you've had requested for you to make? Right, like because I have
It's
a funny
legal to
story.
say on here.
That's legal
No.
to say on here.
No,
What is it? I don't know the exact name.
Matt's like, nope, I'm not even going there. I'm not even gonna like.
no, I'm not gonna do that.
No.
'Cause I know it's no good. No.
The weirdest thing I've ever been commissioned that I did turn down, just because of the shipping, because it wasn't in the state, was I forget the name of it, but it's a cross, but it's for adult fun time.
Oh,
With
I'm not even sure I understand that.
chains and handcuffs and stuff like that. Yeah, I was like, yeah.
I see.
I did get commissioned to make a Confederate flag one time because I used to do a bunch of flags, and I was like, nope, I'm sorry. And he's like, well, I don't see what the problem is. I'm like, I just no, because at the time I was trying to build my social media. I was like, everything I do goes on social media. This gives me no benefit.
That's a touchy
He's like-
subject.
And he's like, well, what if I triple your cost? I'm like,
Come on down to
Can't
Georgia
I-
and have
can't-
that same conversation.
can I be bought? I was like, no, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I can't do it. And he's like, no, I mean, he goes, man, I'll pay you $1,000. I'm like, there's probably some other woodworker out there that would do it for $1,000, but no, not me. Sorry, bro. I'll make you Texas and American flags all day long.
We had a guy commission us. This is like maybe 6 months into doing the woodworking. We had a guy hit us up on Facebook who wanted us to make him a paddle.
Oh, I've done that. Yeah.
Yeah, for his it said wife equalizer on it. He had Debbie paint it by hand.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have one of those that. Yeah. No, yeah. I've made paddles before. My daughter has a paddle that has her initials on it, and it just hangs by her door, and it's just it's a reminder.
Hey, I
That's all
warned
it
you,
is.
Joey. I told you when you asked me to be on this podcast.
This is your fault.
I said, "Are you sure?"
Absolutely, 100%.
Hey,
Great.
Joey and I grew up in Texas. We grew up in the schools where corporal punishment was still a thing. So,
Y'all
Oh,
didn't
wow.
over
Paddles.
there. Y'all never had that.
I did.
No, not out here.
What?
No.
Really?
Not out
I-
here.
I had a principal in middle school that walked the hall
It was either
with a paddle.
I'll call your dad, or we'll
And
take
he can
care
do
of
it?
it right here. I think
No. You see,
We'll
you
take
got
care of-
lucky.
We'll take care of it right here. Because
You got lucky.
Calling my dad.
Mine
Okay,
was
where's at home? So we'll just
mine was you're gonna get it here, and then I'm gonna call your dad.
Oh wow.
my principal in middle school was my dad's high school football coach.
Well, I mean,
So-
everybody knew everybody around here.
Yeah,
It's the same
no, I
thing,
got
but
away
it's
with
like,
nothing.
I was
Yeah.
like, and it's get squashed right here. It doesn't leave this room, right? I'm not going to get a double whammy. I let you
No.
do this here, and then you're going to call him anyway.
He's-
You know?
Joey's working it out in advance. He's
Yeah.
like, I gotta get this in writing first.
He's
I gotta
3
get this in writing.
chest over here.
I'm thankful I grew up in California. We didn't have that. We didn't deal with that out here. Too many liberals out here.
No, we're both in blue states, Ben.
No.
Okay, we'll leave that there. No,
Mhm.
moving on.
Moving on.
Moving on. But
That's like the theme of this podcast.
So
moving on.
So okay, so let's move on. What's something you've been commissioned to make that when you got the commission for it, you were like, oh my God, I've always wanted to make these. I just needed the excuse. And this is my excuse.
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know. I think one of the coolest things I made was, I know it's going to sound weird, but I made a set of ashtrays for a parent of my friend's dad. You know what I mean? Like, it was just something that, and so I made two wood ashtrays that and I didn't know what the hell to do. I didn't know how to make them. So I made the whole thing on a jigsaw. Scroll saw. I mean, not jigsaw, scroll saw.
That's Joey's favorite tool.
The scroll
That is
saw is
Joey's
the best.
yeah.
I just
Yeah,
used it
he
the other day.
loves the scroll saw.
There's a joke here I'm missing.
We're outnumbered. We're outnumbered here, Ben.
So the scroll saw, the best
Hey,
use
hey,
of
hey,
the
no,
scroll
you're
saw,
not.
Ben, the best use of the scroll
Oh,
saw
come on. This
is
is
to
I'm just gonna
hold
mute-
your
I'm just
door
gonna
open
mute
to
him
let
right
air
now.
flow.
beating a dead horse, Matt.
I didn't
Hey,
say
Matt,
nothing. I didn't say nothing.
Mustache,
muted?
you're
Who muted?
Are you not a fan
I
of the
did.
scroll saw, Matt? Is that
They
what's
are,
going on here?
they are not.
No.
I am one of the biggest proponents of scroll saws because I believe it's one of the best saws for young kids to learn on because it is super
Yeah.
safe.
Well, there you go.
Do I use my scroll saw? Heck no, I haven't used it in 10 years
Got it.
because I have a laser and a CNC, and there's no point in having a scroll saw when you have lasers and CNCs. But
I like to work that muscle, BJ. I like to work
I
that
get
muscle.
that. I get
You know
that.
what
I
mean?
get it.
I got-
But
you know.
when my daughter decides, hey, I want to start doing this, cool, we're gonna break out the scroll saw and she's
Yeah.
gonna start using it. I think
Yeah.
it's a great tool.
It is.
It's the
You
only
cut out-
saw,
Yeah.
knock on wood, I've never been cut with.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never cut myself on it either. But I created it because the I didn't have a CNC. I didn't have any
Mhm.
way to cut a circle. You know what I mean? A thin circle. You know what I mean? I didn't want to stack it. I didn't want to. So I basically I cut the bottom and then I cut a ring. You know, I cut a ring out and I pulled the middle out and I had the ring and I shaped and it came out really nice. You know what I mean? So that was like.
Yeah.
For and I was still really new at making anything at that point. So like for me, that was something that I was really proud about, you know what I mean, and excited for, you know what I mean. So I mean someday I'm gonna turn my own set of drumsticks and I'm gonna be that's probably gonna be one of my most exciting days.
That would be cool.
You know what I mean? Because that's
So if you
I've
don't know,
never seen
BJ,
anyone
Ben's
do
got a
that.
drum set in his shop that he goes over there and plays on, don't you, every now and then? Well,
Yeah.
if you catch him on a Friday, I think your neighbors, don't they have like a garage band or something?
Yeah.
And and he's over there
Oh,
wanting
yeah.
to go
Yeah.
crash it so he can play a set with them or something. We've caught him on a Friday show before.
Yeah, I kid that's where I started my woodworking career, on the drum set, because I used to make sawdust out of those sticks all the time. You know what I mean? Just breaking sticks right and left. You know what I mean?
That's all part of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
So what CNC did you have? Because I saw something today and I sent it over to Joey and I'm just kind of curious. So what kind of CNC do you have?
I have the Shape Poco, the 3, I think it is. It's the larger footprint, not the big huge one, but it's I think it's the XXL, if I remember correctly.
That's still the belt drive.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I used to have.
And it worked great for what I've been using it for. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm still super new at CNC work. I'm trying to be a big CNC guy over here, but it's coming slowly. But I love it, you know what I mean? And I'm eager to learn. But that's what I'm running right now.
Nice.
So I'm running the Onefinity, and I know BJ's running Onefinity. Joey's running
You got an Avid or
Avid.
Axiom?
Avid.
Yep.
Avid.
Yeah.
And Mustachio, you got a
X-Carve.
X-Carve.
Mhm.
But I saw today, and I'm just curious what y'all think about this. Daniel with PWN CNC.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all notice his post today?
Mm-mm.
I didn't.
I did
I
not.
didn't
Did
see
they
it.
announce the CNC?
Yes. He
Really?
didn't really announce it. He just kind of
Oh.
showed it where he's testing. You can tell he's testing it because he's got a dial indicator off to the side, making sure it doesn't deflect or anything. But I'm just curious what y'all think about that.
They haven't seen it, so it's more like a CNC like mine, very robust.
Linear. Yeah, it's linear rails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very robust CNC.
Using it's got the Masso controller.
Okay,
Yeah.
from the one that the Onefinities use.
Yeah.
See, I'm surprised he's not making that more of a kind of like.
I think he's building that in house. I really do.
Yeah,
I think
no,
he's
that definitely is. I'm pretty sure he's testing and figuring out production on that. I'm pretty sure. I want to say when we had him on the podcast last year or the year before, that was kind of shadowing in the background when he was showing tool changers. That's been in the makings for a while. I think it was just never mentioned, but you could see it. And I always wondered, what is that? Is that an Avid? Because I know he bought an Avid, I believe.
Yeah.
Because
he bought like one of everything. Yeah.
Because they were trying to figure out the tool changing on that CNC, because Avid kind of works with their own proprietary Mach 4. Like what you got a Mach cam system, right? And that's basically live running, just like Onefinity, but that's how you control the Avid CNC. So I'm wondering if it's that. I haven't read the post. I just saw it, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Battle of the CNC companies.
It was nice. Yeah, it was pretty nice.
It's a very robust CNC. Well, what kind of price point he comes out with, we'll see.
Yeah, Don said that he saw the prototype at WBC. It was impressive.
Which is weird that they had it there, but they didn't have it at the Texas Woodworking Festival. They were still using the Onefinity, but they were directly across from the Onefinity booth. So I'm wondering if that had something to do with that.
I don't know.
And I think that was before Onefinity announced their spindle.
It was. Yes, it was.
So there was probably still a relationship at that.
Yeah, it was way before they announced any of that stuff. So who knows? Hey, it's great. No, always good to have competition. Other stuff out there gives the consumer an option to look at. And if you're wanting, I'm not saying nothing bad about Onefinity, y'all. I've seen the one up at Texas Woodworking Festival. Was the first time I've ever been up and close, and it's a very robust CNC. You can tell it's well made. When because I'm used to the Avid, right? And Avid's a very robust CNC. I mean, it's all very huge extruded aluminum, and I've never seen another CNC, to be honest. This is the first CNC I ever bought. But to get my eyes on one and up close, it's a pretty damn good CNC. I mean, it's pretty stout. Matt's told me y'all all have one. So it's good to see competition coming in.
I know, God, what's his name? I can't remember his name, but I mean, he parked a tractor on his, and I mean, heck, when I did my Onefinity reveal, my wife's sitting on it, and every bit of her weight, I mean, all 110 pounds of her weight is sitting on it. And that I've checked it. It doesn't deflect. And that was my one thing. Like, I love my Shapeoko because I ran the Shapeoko for 4 years, 3 or 4 years. Absolutely loved that thing. And it was such a great CNC. I sold it 3 or 4 years later for what I paid for it.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it held its value. So that was, to me, that's a huge win. And the only issue I ever had with that thing was just the belts. If you don't keep up with the belt tension, you're going to have problems. And but other than that, and that's just part of your maintenance. I mean, heck, the Onefinity, that Avid, all of them, they have maintenance that has to be done on them to keep them up and running. If you're not maintaining them, you're asking for trouble.
Correct.
That's just part of it.
It's everything you buy that's like that. But I mean, I just saw that. I saw that was after the whole spindle thing with red line and all that kind of stuff, and I saw that, and it looked really nice. It was a very short video. It was kind of showing him doing a carving, but just to see it looks very nice.
I'm definitely curious to see a price point.
Does anybody else think Matt's got like a Dr. Evil thing going on right now? The black background. He's sitting there just like petting just a smile on his face. My precious.
Exactly.
I'm leaning at that point. I'm leaning more towards a Gollum side, but
sorry, true. That's funny. No, I mean my the CNC I have going on, like I said, the Shapeoko, for what I use it for, I haven't had zero issues. You know what I mean? It's worked great.
Yeah.
I honestly think if I knew more, I could cut the majority of the trophy. The majority of the trophy that I do could be done with the CNC. Way more than I do with it. All I use it for is to cut the shape with it. Like, I know if I knew what I was doing, I could have it do a tool change and then grab the Roman OG bit, come back over, do the edge profile, then go back and do another tool change, and then get the drill and drill the hole for me. You know what I mean? But I'm not there yet as far as how to do all that. You know what I mean? So, but I'll get there eventually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I know. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. No, I was just finish what you're saying. I'll add one thing onto it.
No, I was just gonna say, I know eventually I'll get to the point where that machine is gonna do the majority of the work for me, which will speed the whole process up for me. I'm just not quite there yet.
Yeah.
What software are you using? Are you using the Carbide Create?
Yeah, that's just
that's the one in with doing a lot of that. That's kind of where the weak point will come in. And you'll want to go to B-Carve or something like that. I still, to this day, use Carbide Create for my Onefinity just because I used it so long. And I do kind of like you. I do signs, certain things like that. I'm not doing crazy 3D carves and everything. So for me, it works. But there are times where it's like, God, I'm having to do multiple tool changes. And it's just, I just got to create you have to create multiple files on how to do a lot of that stuff. And it's like, it could be better, but I mean, hell, it's free. It's a free piece of software.
Yeah, exactly.
The version I have is.
Yeah. And for what I'm doing, like I said, I don't, need anything too crazy. I mean, I would like to upgrade eventually, but I'm good right now.
It works. Hey, if it works, it works. Don't fix it.
Yeah. No need.
I won't. I don't even know how to fix it, BJ. So don't worry about that.
Well, if you ever need help, I fixed mine a lot, so I can definitely help you out.
And don't bother asking your buddy Dave because he never used it. If y'all want to give me heck about leaving stuff in the box, at least he took it out and it was just a drying rack for his cutting boards. But you don't know.
It still has some of the original oil on the plate or the build plate, but the spoil board. There's still some of his oil on there.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, we're getting to that time of the day. Like to thank you, Ben, for hanging out with us. It was a pleasure.
Yes.
Thanks a lot.
It was great, man.
Thank you.
If do you have anything coming up that you want to announce coming up for Conderosa Creations or the Joinery Podcast?
Well, I was going to say, just check out the Joinery Podcast on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you want to find it. Come hang out with David and I on Sunday mornings. We do 2 beards, 1 cup, and it's coffee. It's coffee.
Sure.
And come hang out with us. We like to drink coffee. It's basically, the premise is we talk until the cup of coffee's gone, and then that's it. So it's like it could be a half hour, it could be 15 minutes. So it just depends. But yeah, come hang out with us. It's a good time. Yeah, I mean, I got an Etsy, Conderosa Creations. Look us up on Etsy. You can find us. I got some stuff on there. If you're interested, not a whole lot, but I'm going to be making more and putting more on there. That's my goal this year. So yeah, check us out. I don't know if it'll happen again, but if it does, the West Coast Maker Meetup, look for that, coming up hopefully sometime this year in the middle of the year.
And that happens there at Surf Prep, right?
At
Facilities.
Surf Prep.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure if it's happening again this year, but it might be. And so I'm just throwing it out there. It's something else we are always involved with. So yeah. And Friday night lives with these guys. Come hang out.
We've been slacking a little bit.
I know you have. I know you have.
It's okay.
I was gonna.
It's
I
okay.
didn't want to bring it up, but you have been slacking personally.
Yeah, we've been busy. I've been standing in the garage staring at the floor.
Yeah.
Well, I miss hanging out with you guys, is what I'm trying to say. So let's get it going again.
Well, it's kind of one of those things. We don't want to take him away from getting that hole covered up that he finally finished last night, because he was procrastinating around that piece of plywood. And I think we gave him so much heat last night that he finally cut it and made the cover for it just to shut us up. And he finished. So now on to bigger and better things, and maybe we can do our show again. Maybe not. Who knows?
We'll see.
It's like,
You still gotta move it. You still gotta move the shelf. You still have to move that shelving.
Yeah.
Hey, you shut your pretty mouth, Matt.
Baby step. We're starting to get a feel for it. But anyways, guys, thanks everybody for hanging out with us this Sunday evening. Ben, thank you again for joining us. It was a pleasure, bud.
Yeah, thank you.
All of Ben's links are down below in the show. Go follow him. Go check out Luke. Go check out their podcast, the Joinery Podcast, and go order something from his Etsy. So keep him busy so he can stay out of Deb's radar and be making stuff, But remember to head on over to iTunes or Spotify and leave us a comment. I want 10 stars. 10 stars. 10.
10 of them.
And next week on the show, we have Nick with Boss Dog Wood Glue. So come hang out.
Nice.
A great show.
Fun
He's
one.
also donating stuff for our 100th giveaway. So that's going to be part of the giveaway. Just a little bit, right? Announce a little bit of it. So our 100th show is coming up. Remember to come and join us. You got to be live. We've got some real good goodies that we're going to give away.
I'm going to offer up a 3D printed mini duck for that giveaway too. So
That's what I'm
from
talking about.
Conderosa Creations.
There we
Mini
go.
duck from Conderosa.
duck.
I'm going to write it down, Ben. I'm going to write it down.
Yeah.
Write it down,
There you
dude. I'll send that thing. It's coming.
Mini duck. Okay, so there you go. There's another one, a mini duck from Ben.
There we go.
I'm sending it, and that person's gonna be so.
No,
bummed.
you are going to send it because somebody's going to get it. Somebody is going to get a duck.
The envelope's gonna weigh more than the duck does.
Yeah.
Thanks
Like-
for the mini duck.
Duck for Andy.
Debbie's gonna be so mad at me. She's like, "You're shipping what?"
$5 for shipping.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh. Anyhow, again, thanks everyone. We're gonna duck on out of here.
Oh!
Until next week. We'll see y'all. Bye bye
See
now.
you later.